waiting for the fabulous Randie Levine Miller to show up, and she's invited a bunch of divas for one of her regular Diva Roundtable lunches at Sardis, and you never know who's going to show up or what we're going to talk about. And normally what happens at Sardis stays at Sardis, but today we're sharing it with you.
It's sort of like a well-produced talk show where everybody gets center stage and they talk about their life and times. It's a great chat and chew.
You never know. We're always trying something new, but it's good when you're in your 60s to just try stuff we don't know anything about.
I feel like a skeleton. We met at a Diva lunch. So we met Mr. Happy. And I couldn't stop laughing. No, and you know, I kind of like it.
So I don't think it's the number. I think it's like between your ears. I think it's how you think.
You just pull me off the street. Hey, you!
Don't you think so?
Yes.
Provided your bones hold up.
Well, yeah, your bones have to work. The bones have to work, but they're doing good things with bones these days.
The one thing they shared was that they were accomplished, kind, give back, sharing with great stories.
Well, I am working on a musical called Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day, which was a movie that came out about 7 years ago with Frances McDormand. And I'm working with my songwriting partner, Greg Morrison, and Robert Harling, who wrote Steel Magnolias, is writing the script to this. Also, there's going to be a movie of The Drowsy Chaperone happening in a year with Jeffrey Rush in the lead part.
Well, the last thing I was involved with, well, it was a workshop of a new musical. I hope it goes somewhere. It's brilliant. But I have 2 recordings out, 2 CDs. And I was very involved with that, with promoting them, etc. And reception's been great. I have another project in mind, a musical project that I'm going to do next. I'd like to go back in the recording studio and record it, but go into a club in New York to do the material live first.
I'm in rehearsal for a new CD.
Fabulous.
Yeah. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it because I haven't recorded in a while. So these are really, really special pieces.
Gorgeous.
Oh,
I know.
Thank you.
It's gonna be
She's my sweet friend. Thank you. Give me a kiss.
Well,
I'm finally finishing a book, so I know what you were going through. I know exactly what you were going through. You were telling me about your book. Then I go back out on the road. I come back. I want to finish the book. I'll do vocals on the CD. What else am I doing? I don't know. I'm doing
and you're on your
else.
way to a rehearsal.
And I'm on my way to a rehearsal. And it's raining. So you know.
It's New York.
It's New York.
It's very important to have, as Deborah Chernelli, another actress, would say, a family of friends, so that you don't feel alone. I mean, my mother always said that you're born alone and you die alone. How right she was. And it was also fascinating. According to Dr. Barbara Paris, who was in charge of geriatric medicine at Mount Sinai and is now at Maimonides, she said that it always seems to happen that you can be with your mother and she can be alive, and then you go out for a cup of coffee and dies alone. And that's what happened with my mother. I went out for 7 minutes to get a cup of coffee. I came back and she was finished. And, you know, so having good people in our lives and that support system of supportive and loving women who are not competitive and who are not naysayers or sabotage you, you know, to have healthy relationships with people that embrace and love you, you know, that to me is better than being in a bad marriage. And
absolutely.
being in a bad
yeah, that's true.
No, it's better to be alone.
I feel less lonely now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not alone. You're not alone. That's the thing.
I have me.
You're not alone.
I have me.
I tried to convince you of that.
Oh, she hated my husband.
I didn't hate your husband.
He was good looking, but I was shallow.
Who cares?
I
He doesn't
know.
have the mic on, don't worry. You just
What I
doing
didn't
footage, right?
like was what he did or didn't do
for you?
Here's what it is. Okay. When I was younger and some unavailable guy, like a married guy or a guy who was in a relationship would make an overture, I'd say, I'm sorry, I do aerobics. Then, when I was a little older, I'd say, if you think following an overture, sexual overture, I'd say, if you think I'm so wonderful, don't you think I deserve someone of my very own? And then more recently, if I can remember the last time, I said, you know, I have this horrible affliction. This is if a guy is elderly and married. I cannot separate my heart from my body. I fall in love. Do you think you want that at this time in your life? And they go, no, I don't. See, they want to fling. You know, men are able to compartmentalize. Unfortunately, some women have caught that fever, and I think it's to our detriment. That is my wisdom.
Wisdom. And I have a kind of simple philosophy now that I pretty much follow. If whoever I'm with doesn't contribute to my life, or God forbid, diminishes my being, my life in some way, I'm aware of time running out. But even if that wasn't the issue, if you're not contributing, I don't want to waste my time. Mm-hmm. And if it's neutral, if it's neither here nor there, you're neither detracting from my existence or contributing. And hopefully, with my friends, we absolutely contribute to one another's existence and nourish each other. And if it's just neutral, I really question whether it's worth my time.
That's right.
That's kind of the way I live.
That's
yeah.
why you look so great.
I feel that the gift of friendship or a poem or a thoughtful note is the best gift of all.
I'm still a young kid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes.
I look in the mirror and
Well, you look good.
Thanks. I mean, I'm in my 50s. Is that like old today?
No.
Isn't your 50s
No.
old?
50s is
No.
the new 30s.
No, actually, my grandmother was pretty hip. All her friends were like in their 40s and 30s. She never hung around with old people. And my father was the same way. And I used to say to my father, Daddy, how come you don't hang around with people your age? He says, I don't want to talk about doctor's appointments. That was my father. He said, I'm young. My father, at the age of 80, wanted to go back to college to learn computers.
That's the
Yeah.
right attitude.
So I kind of come from that. It's
In your
funny. I
life.
remember seeing my grandparents when they were like, I don't know, maybe a little older than me. And I thought they were so old. And I'm trying to think, did I think they were so old because I was just so young? Or did people just feel older then? I'm not sure how that...
You know what? People are happy to be in this city because I come from Toronto, which has a lot going for it. It's a lovely place to grow up. Yorkville's good. But New York people came here for a reason. So you get the sense that everybody here wants to be here. And it's just, there's a friendliness and a stimulation without it being overwhelming. And I think people come to New York and expect it to be really rough and hard and are surprised at how loving and friendly it is. And I really do find I go to other places and it's just not as sweet. There's a sweetness to it. Now, it wasn't always like this.
Well, I've lived here since 1963, and I found that the older I get, the more I love New York. Absolutely. I used to feel it was a lot more difficult to live here, and certainly there are difficult things about it. There's no question about it. Quality of life issues, the noise, the crowds, etc. I've had a place in Pennsylvania for many, many years, an old farm, so I've had a kind of balance there. But now I really want to be in New York primarily, and I am. I have an apartment I've had here since 1967 or 68.
I'm going to be 70.
Are you
My
really?
next birthday.
Are you really?
70 years old.
Doesn't she look great?
No, fabulous.
Well, I had a facial in Chinatown this week.
No. You know what it is? It's your inner beat. It's your inner beat. It has nothing to do with your, your look does help, but I've seen young people that have like an old inner beat.
Yes.
And then I've seen people like older than Marilyn. Marilyn's still a young person.
Yes.
I consider her a young person. But there are people that are older and they have they're cool, you know?
And this is what happens. And friendships are made, connections are made, but it's all done in a very loving way. It's not about networking. At camp, nobody wanted to be my buddy. I'm looking for buddies. And if they walk off into the sunset and they don't acknowledge and say, oh, I got together with such and such, thank you for making that happen, I feel really badly.
Great afternoon, wasn't this a great afternoon?
It was a great afternoon.
It was a great afternoon.
Yeah, I'm glad you invited me.
And
Thank
it's
you.
nice.
Because I really am a modern day hostess with the mostest, Dolly Levi, who would say, I have always been a woman who arranges things. And that's what I do.